All right, so now we've covered everything where we can get our partner's arm across the center line, okay? And as we all know, it's not easy to get our partner's arm completely across the center line to get two arms to the same side of the body, okay? That's our preferred position. Anytime we can get two of our partner's arms across the body, that's the best position we can be in. But of course, as we have an opponent who's more talented and heavily resisting, it's hard to be able to pull arms all the way across the body. So what happens when I can only pull arms to the center line, not beyond the center line? Okay? Like I said, we're going to go beyond the center line first, then to the center line, then pulling elbows away from the body. We can't even get the elbows inside the shoulder, and we're going to move further beyond that. Okay? So now, we're going to look to go into ways to set up Juji Gatame from a top lock. The number one way in world level international competition to set up a Juji Gatame, an armbar, from bottom guard is to use a top lock, okay? Where we move in increments, controlling our partner's shoulder to eventually attacking our partner's elbow, okay? Whenever we're looking to attack armbars from a bottom position, there are central problems associated with this. The central problems of attacking a Juji from a bottom position are different than the central problems attacking a Juji from a top position. When we're attacking someone from bottom position, the whole issue is how can we keep our hips up high to keep our knee higher than our partner's ear. When we're on bottom or when we're in top position, our question is how can we keep our partner down? Okay? When people teach arm bars, they say here's an arm bar. They don't ever distinguish between an arm bar from top position and an arm bar from bottom position. Okay? But the problems that we have to deal with from both are very different. I'm trying to keep my partner down in one, and I'm trying to keep myself up in another. Okay? So, our central problems: 1, how can I keep my hips up? 2, how can I deal with my partner pulling out and away from me and standing up and pulling the arm free? And 3, how can I deal with my partner stacking me? So we have the pull-out problem, which isn't really an issue most of the time, a stacking problem, and how can I keep my hips up and connected to my partner? Okay. So we're going to look to move in. We've all seen drills where we grab our partner's wrist and we move from arm bar to arm bar, and we throw our legs up and over. That's great when you're joining the white belt class, and then we try to do it on somebody, it never works. So as soon as I go to make a transition, my partner just pulls the elbow out, and now she pushes my legs up over my head, and I start getting my guard passed. Okay? So we're going to move in increments to take our partner's arm into a position where I can first control the shoulder and then make a small movement to a Juji. So we're just going to come in, and we can do this in multiple different ways. Okay? We can come through, we can use a 2-on-1 elbow, we can use a 2-on-1 wrist. Okay? We can use a simple elbow post where we come in, we move the elbow through. We can grab over the forearm and pull the elbow in. There's a variety of different grips that we can use to get to this top lock. The main thing that I'm focusing on is getting my partner's elbow inside the shoulder. So if you draw the line that goes straight up and down from floor to ceiling through her shoulder, if the elbow's inside that line, I can lock a top lock. If the elbow's outside that line, I can't lock a top lock. So we're going to come in and we're grip fighting with our partner. We're going to come over and we're going to grab a 2-on-1 elbow. Now we're going to knee pull and pull the elbow inside. Once again, the foundation of playing a closed guard is the ability to off balance and misdirect your opponent with a combination of knee pulls in multiple directions. Okay? So I can't just pull my partner's arm in. When she goes to make a strong arm, it's hard to pull my partner's arm across. So I knee pull over my right shoulder, and this allows me now to get my partner's arm through. Even when she goes to make a tense body, I can always pull my partner's arm in long enough to then fire my legs up and over my partner's shoulder. So now what do I have? I have control over my partner's shoulder, and I have my legs at the top of my partner's lever, or at the top of the lever of my partner's spine. So now when she goes to posture up, another knee pull, where I pull my knees to my chest, will make it incredibly easy now to keep her posture broken. Even if she stands up, she can't get to vertical posture. When she goes to lift me up, she's pulling at the long end of the lever of her spine, and it's very difficult to lift me off the ground from here. Okay. So now, once we have a top lock in place, we go wrist to wrist. Okay? The veins of our wrist connect to the veins of our partner's wrist. The reason for this is simple. When I go to swing my leg over and I go to lock a full Juji Gatame, if I have no control of my partner's hands, she can easily lock into a full figure four, where now I take my feet over, and now she has a very good defensive posture. The full figure four is very hard to separate her hands from here. When I go in wrist to wrist off a top lock, this puts a limit on how far she can bring her hands together. So as she goes to take her right hand in and lock a full figure four, she can only bend her hand so far. So now when she goes to lock a full figure four and take her hand behind my hamstring, it's impossible. And it gives me a much higher chance, a much better chance of finishing. So we're going to come in, we go into an initial top lock, we go in wrist to wrist. Now we scoop inside of our partner's leg, and we create angle. Again, movement that leads to angular advantage. Now notice, when I go to take my leg over, it's not this big motion anymore. That's swinging my legs in random directions. Now, all I have to do is take a slight movement of my left leg up and over my partner's face. And now, my knee again is higher than her ear. So when she goes to pull out and away from me, it's just so difficult. Now, from a full Juji, I don't cross my legs. Okay, here's why. In other Jujis from bottom position, it's okay to cross your legs. This is not one of them. When my partner goes to pressure towards me, just a simple act of bringing my heels down to the floor will not be enough to stop her from bringing my knees into my face, compressing my diaphragm, and stacking me so I can't extend my hips and finish. If I cross my legs and I try to open up my knee into my partner's face, it inhibits my ability to flare my knee out and to push her out in this direction to keep her off balance. If I have crossed feet and she goes to stack me, she can always do it. So I make sure that my 2 feet are unlocked from this particular position, my 2 heels come to the floor, and as my partner goes to stack me, I flare my left knee out and I push everything out in this direction. So now, when she goes to come in and stack me, it's incredibly difficult. Okay? The only way she can do that is by stepping her right leg up, and now she can stack me, which we'll deal with in a second. Okay? I take my 2 heels to the floor, I open up my left knee. Now we come in and we switch. Right hand to right hand, almost like I'm saying, what's up? We go ball of the thumb to ball of the thumb. This controls my partner's thumb and in turn, her elbow. So even if she moves, I can always keep her elbow in the breaking fulcrum because I control where her thumb moves and in turn the elbow. Now a second V grip with our left hand on our partner's wrist here, like so. And now we turn the palm up to the ceiling. If we keep the thumb pointed up towards the ceiling, we run out of range into the floor. So our elbows hit the floor. So yes, my hips can come up, and I can get strong taps. I can even get pops on my partner's arm. Okay? But we don't want pops on our partner's arm. What we want is the ability to break somebody's arm in half if a situation arises. Okay? So the point where I break my partner's arm in half to where they can't use it. Okay? The way we do this is by rotating the palm towards the ceiling. Okay? The reason for this is because I don't run out of range and hit my elbows to the floor. I can pull my heels down, open up my knee, and now I can pull and push across my hip, like so. Now there's no end range. Now I get a tap here. And I still have all this motion to go through. So you can get true breaks on your partner's arm. Whereas from here, as my hips come up, my elbow hits the floor, and I get a tap here, but I'm pretty much out of range. My hips can only come up a fraction more, and now you can never actually break someone's arm. So we make sure that 1, heels come down, 2, knee flares open. So when she goes to stack me, it's difficult. Now, V grip, thumb to thumb, we rotate the palm towards the ceiling. So now we pull and we push across our right hip as our right knee closes. So our right knee's going in this direction, and everything else is going in this direction. So my knee goes east, and my partner's arm goes west. And from here, we can get incredibly strong finishes where you can actually break our partner's arm in half from Juji Gatame and closed guard. Okay? So we look to come in. We use a 2-on-1 combined with a knee pull to get my partner's arm to my center line. Just to pull with my arms won't do it. She's in tight. It's hard. Okay? But a knee pull combined with a pull of my arms will always bring the arm in just enough to throw up into a top lock. Now we come in and we go wrist to wrist. So whatever leg's over the shoulder, the same side hand scoops in wrist to wrist, vein to vein. So now when she goes to lock in, it's difficult. Now we scoop into our partner's leg. This gives us angle. So we have movement first. Now angle second. Here. Now we're in this advanced position like we talked about before. Now when she goes to lock in, we just fire our leg over, our hips rise, and our knee comes high. Now when she goes to stack me, my two heels come to the floor, and I open up my left knee. Now we come in, we take our right hand, we go in thumb to thumb as best as we can. If our partner's locking the hands, no worries, we just come in best as we can, thumb to thumb, and then a V grip. Now when she goes to come forward, we turn the palm towards the ceiling, and we just pull and push over the right hip as our right knee closes, and we can get incredibly strong breaks on our partner's arm without running into the floor like we usually do, so there's no end range. So we can come in, we can push over the hip, we can break the arm in half if we need to, if we ever find ourselves in a situation where we need to do that. Okay, so now we've looked at dealing with one of the central problems of attacking Juji Gatame from a bottom closed guard. That is how we keep our hips up. We do that by keeping our knee above the height of our partner's ear. Now, we have to deal with the second central problem of attacking Juji from bottom position, the stacking problem. Okay, when someone goes to stack towards me, and I feel like I just can't extend my hips and salute my partner. So this time, we look to move in. We move initially from a knee pull to a top lock to a scoop grip, and we throw our leg up and over. Now, my partner can't stack me efficiently when she's on two knees because I take my left knee and I just flare it out towards my partner's head. When she goes coming in towards me with two knees on the floor, it's just so difficult. But when she steps a leg up and she puts her leg out in the same space in which I'm pushing, step out a little further, here. Now, when I go to flare my knee into my partner's head, her leg supports her. So now she can push back with the leg and she can always stack me. Whenever I'm seeing being stacked and I feel like I can't extend my hips for the finish, we always have to look to take our partner to a different angle. And we use misdirection to do this. So instead of just hammering away and pushing back with my hips, I'm going to take my right hand from a scoop inside my partner's leg, and we're going to take it through to our partner's far hip, so our hand emerges on the other side now. Now, all in one motion, as she goes to stack me, we're just going to take our right hand up to our face, and we're going to pull our head through to emerge on the opposite side, where now my partner has no weight on top of me. Now, once again, if her hand stays here, I can just finish. But everyone's going to tuck the hand inside the thigh, grab her own hands, things like that. So what do we have now? A position where we're in the same exact position as we were before when we went for a Juji during the side scissor, where we attacked the side scissor and went up for a Juji. We're in the same spot. So we come in, we reach over one of our partner's legs, two of our partner's legs, and now we just simply roll our partner up and over. We take our partner through, and now we're ready to go in, separate our partner's hands, and go in for the win. Okay. So we come in, we go into our initial Juji. So we move knee pull, top lock, scoop grip, we turn off our partner's shoulders, now we go into our initial Juji. Now we go to take our partner back and away from us to extend their hips, but she's smart, she posts her right leg out on the floor. So now I can't take my partner out of balance. As she pushes into me, we just take our right hand from the right leg to the far hip. Where now I physically push my head through to the other side by using my right hand. So my 2 feet off balance my partner out in this direction. As I pull my right hand through, we just move our partner out and over to the other side. So now we're in the same position we were in previously. We take our partner's one leg, 2 leg, we pull across, and as we come over, we throw a cross face in place, and now we're ready to go in and separate our partner's arms. Okay, so we make a transition from a top lock to a Juji, and now a central problem we deal with is a stacking problem. So we move, we pivot off our partner's shoulder, we throw our leg up into place. She steps the leg out, we go from a scoop grip to a far hip. Now our 2 feet off balance in this direction. Here, I just pull my head from one hip to the other. Now my partner goes to stack me, she has no ability to put any weight on me. Now we go in, 1, 2, we pull our partner up on top. As we come over, we throw the leg over. Now we're ready to go in, separate our partner's hands, and go in for winning positions with ourselves on top now versus being stacked on bottom. So that's how we address the stacking problem when someone's on top of me and I feel like I just can't extend my hips enough to be able to go in and get to the win. All right, so now we're gonna move back a step and we're gonna go into this, we're gonna show you guys a look at the same moves we did previously, just set up from a successful stack. Okay, so I'm not gonna go through the full mechanics of the moves because we've already seen them. And you guys should be watching this from start to finish. I know a lot of you in the guard passing instructional just try to skip through to the floating passing, but it didn't really make sense. All of my instructionals, you have to watch from start to finish for them to make sense. They're ordered sequentially from beginning to end. Okay, so we're just gonna go in and we move into a juji from a top block. We pivot off our partner's shoulder and we flick our leg up and over. Now, when my partner successfully stacks me, she comes in and now she looks like shake, 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 and she pulls the arm free. All right. Whenever I see this, now we have a choice. We can either pull our right heel to our butt, and that control our partner's shoulder to some degree. We can even come in and control our partner's shoulder here, and now we can just flick our leg around to the other side and control our partner's head and arm, where now we can look to go for Hantai Senkaku or full Omote Senkaku. Or if you feel like that's not a choice, the arm pulls out and she postures up, then we go right back into the legs. Okay, where now from here we can throw our legs up and over, and we can start to go in. If our partner starts to bring the hands back inside and looks to start scooping my leg and pushing things out in the way, now she sprawls the leg back, we just extend out in this direction, we just flick our leg around, and then we go back into all of our attacks with the triangle series. Okay, so just so you guys can get a look of where I'm going in live situations, whenever my partner pulls out in the way, where she stacks me and the arm comes out, the lower body is always there. So just go into the lower body and play the bridge between the lower body and the upper body, and the upper body and the lower body. Okay, so now we're going to look at the third central problem of attacking Juji Gatame from bottom position, specifically bottom closed guard. That's the problem of my partner pulling the arm free. Now, to some degree, we can always just keep our knee higher than our partner's ear. But if you're dealing with someone with grease who's shaking, 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 the issue is, eventually, the more they shake, the lower your knee drops. Okay, so what will happen eventually is when there's sweat involved, when there's grease involved, my partner stands up, my knee starts higher than the ear. As she shakes, 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 my knee sags below the ear, and then the hand comes free. Okay, so we can always stay in this position for so long. What I need is for my knee to stay higher than the ear long enough to off-balance my partner and get into a winning position. It's not meant to keep me there for minutes at a time. Okay, so we come in, we move into a top lock, we throw ourselves into a Juji Gatame, and now my partner chooses to stand up on me and try to pull the arm free. Again, my knee being higher than the elbow or higher than the ear will keep me trapped for some amount of time. If my knee is lower than the ear, the arm comes free every time and she's gone. So I make sure that my hips rise and my knee goes higher than the ear. Now, as she goes to pull herself out and away, I have to make a transition where I switch from a scoop grip with my right hand to a, let's rotate. I switch from a scoop grip with my right hand to a V grip inside of my partner's ankle. Now I push my head to inside my partner's two legs. Here. Where now I can access my partner's far ankle, wrist deep initially, and then I can pull myself elbow deep. Now my partner has no base out in this direction. So when she goes to base out, a simple dropping of my heels down to the floor will easily roll my partner through. And now once again, we're in a position where we're on top, going for Juji Gatame. Now we can easily separate our partner's hands and go into winning positions. Okay? So we come in. We go knee pull, top lock, wrist to wrist, scoop, turn, and throw. My partner stands up. Now we go from a scoop grip to a V grip. This allows us to access our partner's far foot. If she has a wide base, I can't go right to the ankle right away. I can't reach it. So we go in, near leg first with a V grip. I push my head towards my partner's far leg. Here. Now I go wrist deep, and then I pull myself to a position where I can get as elbow deep as possible. Now all I need to do is take my two heels down to the floor, and the directionality of force is over my partner's right shoulder. So as we come down, we easily throw my partner down to the floor. Now we can separate our partner's two hands. So what it'll look like in a semi-realistic situation, fighting for grips, we come in, we pull, we're through. Now she goes to stand up as I throw the leg over. She goes to pull her arm out. I throw my partner down to the floor. Now we're in, ready to go in for the win, where we're on top of our partner, going in for juji, versus being underneath our partner, having them either stack into us or pull the arm out. So we have 3 central problems dealing with juji gatame. 1 is how can I keep my hips up from a bottom position? 2 is how can I deal with the stacking problem? My partner goes into me, then pulls the arm free. And 3, how can I deal with the situation where my partner stands up and just tries to aggressively yank the arm out? Okay, it's always, again, angle, misdirection. All right, so now we look at top lock to juji gatame. Now we're going to look at a move that you don't see too much at international level competition, but is extremely effective if you can get there. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, not everybody can do this move. There's a certain line drawn where you have legs that are too short and or too thick to lock around an opponent who has too broad of shoulders. Okay. Now I have very long, skinny and strong legs, so I can lock figure 4 top locks on even people who are much bigger than me, 260, 270 pounds. So if you have the body type to be able to do this, this is one of the only moves that I teach which relies on physical attributes. Every other move that I teach, anyone can do. I could do it, Nat could do it, Nikki could do it, Gary could do it, John can do it. But this is one of those moves where I'm going to teach it where if you have really long and skinny legs and you're dealing with someone who's relatively your size, it'll be very easy to lock. And I've been using this move for 3 years. I can count on one hand the amount of times that people have actually escaped once I lock a figure 4 top lock. It is an incredibly strong move and so difficult to get out of. Okay, but once again, you need to have a certain kind of body type to do it. If you're that size and you're trying to do it on someone with broad shoulders like me, it's not going to work. So just a disclosure when going for this. But if you can do it, it's so incredibly effective. We're going to come in and we're going to pull our partner into an initial top lock. Now, in order to lock a figure 4 top lock, I need to break my partner's posture even further. So I'm going to pull my partner to me with my knees, again an additional knee pull. We're going to grab our partner's head. Now we're going to start the action of walking our feet up our partner's body. What I need is my partner's second elbow inside the hip. So I'm going to extend my left leg, and I'm going to take my right leg up to my partner's far shoulder. So I extend, and I turn my left knee down to my partner's shoulder, like I'm pivoting off the shoulder. As I pivot off the shoulder, my 2 legs swisher so that they point in the same direction. So my left leg turns in, and my left heel flares out. As my right knee flares out, and my right foot points in. Now we go back the other way. Where now, what do we have? An elbow inside my hip. Where now my 2 feet point in the same direction. Now I lock to the initial side the top lock was on. And what do we have? A figure 4 top lock. Where now I have two of my partner's elbows inside of my hips. Now, when she goes to stand up or posture up, it's just so difficult to do anything. Now all we need is to start attacking my partner's initial arm that was trapped. So her right elbow and shoulder are initially controlled. That's the arm I attack. So we come in, we once again just grab thumb to thumb, hand on the wrist with a V grip, and we just extend our hips up and we just pull over the right hip. If at any point our partner figure 4s, this is fine. All we need to do is raise our hips, expose the wrist, and now we push the elbow and we pull the wrist to the outside of our hip. Here. So now when she goes to relock her hands, it's just so difficult. Now we just move back to the hand, we extend, and we get the win. Okay? So we come in, we move to an initial top lock. We move 1. Now, I need to be able to get my partner's elbow inside the shoulder. How do I do that? If I just try to move my legs randomly, I won't be able to do it. It's a moving of my legs back and forth as I pivot off my partner's shoulder. So we're in 1, I extend my left leg, and I turn my left knee into my partner's shoulder. As I do that, my right knee closes, my left foot flares. When that happens, my right knee flares, and my right foot closes. So we do 1, 2, 1, 2. As I combine this with a collar tie, when she goes to keep the elbow outside of the hip, so difficult. Now we lock up. Now we come in, we expose our partner's hand, and we look to bridge as we bring the elbow over the hip, the palm facing up, the hips rise. If my partner figure fours the hands, no problem. We expose the wrist by raising the hips, we push the elbow, we pull the wrist, and then we put our partner's hand into our own pocket. Or now when she goes to come in and stack me or do any kinds of locking of the hands, it's just so difficult, and we can easily extend our partner's arm for the win. So once again, we get a knee pull to an initial top lock. Now we control our partner's posture with a second knee pull and a collar tie. Now if she goes to fight, we move our legs sequentially back and forth until we can get over our partner's two shoulders. Now we lock in. Now if our partner figure fours, no problem. We expose the wrist, we raise the hips, we tuck the hand into the pocket. And now from here, we can come in incredibly easily and come in and get strong finishes up and over our right hip for the win. Okay? So we use a figure four top lock instead of a traditional top lock. It's incredibly tight. Again, depending on the length of your legs and the thickness of your legs, contention is whether you can lock its contention upon the length of your legs and the thickness of your legs relative to the broadness of your partner's shoulders and the width of your partner's shoulders. But if you can actually get there, it is one of the most devastating and high percentage moves that you can be in. Okay? Alright, so we've been looking now at ways to move into Jujikatame via top lock or figure four top lock. Now, the second way that we can move into Jujikatame, it's based more on speed and surprise than it is than with wedges around my partner's shoulders. The figure four top or the initial top lock is the most effective way to move into a juji from bottom closed guard. But there's a second way, which is not as effective and tight, but it is relatively high percentage at the highest levels. And that's by just simply grabbing a wrist and throwing myself into position. Now, there's a certain way that we have to do this. If I just simply grab my partner's wrist and naively try to throw my legs up, the chances of this ever landing are 0.0% on anybody good. Okay. So what I'm going to look to do is my partner has two hands on my stomach like so. We're going to come in and we grab either with our thumb, we physically grab our partner's wrist, or we can go in with no thumb, we can go wrist to wrist. All are pretty decent. I typically like to grab with a thumb, so when my partner goes to peel grips off, it takes a longer time, and I can start looking to switch to 2-on-1s and knee pull across and misdirect to go to the opposite side. So we're going to have our first option is we come in and we grab at the wrist. Now we scoop inside of our partner's leg. Now we hit an initial knee pull, where I hit just a slight knee pull to get my partner's weight going up over to this side. What this does is it makes it hard for her to posture up and away. So when I'm going to throw my legs up, if she's balanced, she can easily just rip the elbow out, and now she's gone. So I do an initial knee pull here, where now, as I knee pull, directly after the knee pull, my leg fires over with the intent of getting my knee higher than my partner's ear. Here. Where now, we're in the same position we were before. Now we go through any one of the movements we did before. If my partner pulls out, we can go into triangles, we can go into the legs. If my partner stacks me, we can roll through. If my partner stands up, we can roll through. We have all of our options that we looked at previously from here. Okay, so we come in, my partner has two hands in, we just grab one. Now we come in and we scoop. Now, the key is to get an initial kazushi, an initial off balance. If there's no off balance when I try to throw my legs up, the elbow will always come free. So as we knee pull, everything goes over the left shoulder, out in this direction, here. Okay. Now this isn't going to be enough to make your partner necessarily post her hand on the floor. Okay. If she goes to stay based out, I'm not going to fire my partner's arm across. Only if she's an idiot will this hand post out on the floor, and now they can come into all kinds of attacks. All right. But most people are going to be relatively balanced from here. But what I just need is just a slight off balance so she can't completely posture up. As I use the slight off balance, when she goes to completely posture up, it makes it difficult. Hey, again, not impossible, just like any of the other moves, but it makes it difficult. So we come in, we grab a wrist, And now we have a slight off balance. Once again, if I just go with no Kazushi, it's not going to work. So we have a slight knee pull over the left shoulder. Now we move to a position where our lower back's off the floor. Now you can come in and go into all the previous moves. Okay? So this is more of a speed-based juji as opposed to a juji that requires wedges around my partner's shoulders, where we move from a top lock to a juji. This is just a slight off balance with Kazushi, a Kazushi-based method, where you just have an initial off balance, throw the leg, and then you go into winning positions. All right, guys, so we've just looked at a speed-based method of moving into a Juji Gatame, where we use it Kazushi as opposed to wedges to move into our favorite attacking positions. Now, let's look at the same speed-based method, but with a different grip variation. In the previous move, we looked at grabbing a wrist and scooping a leg. So now I can use a Kazushi to keep my partner's posture controlled, where I pull my knees into my chest to control the posture momentarily, and then throw the leg over. This time, instead of grabbing a straight wrist, we're going to take our right hand and we're going to reach across and grab a cross forearm. Okay? Where now she has her hands set in place. We're just going to bring her hips up and then knee pull to pull my partner's arm inside the line of the shoulder. Okay? So we come in, we grab a cross wrist. We can even grab an elbow grip. Okay? If our partner's postured up and she has elbows inside, we can easily knee pull and bring everything in. If our partner's elbows outside, we go with an elbow and a forearm. We knee pull, and now we're in position. Now this time, instead of scooping the leg, what do? We reach across to our partner's far shoulder just like before. Where now we hit another initial Kazushi. I have slightly better control of my partner's posture through this far shoulder. So when she goes to posture, she can only posture to a certain degree. But I still want the initial knee pull to get that initial Kazushi. So we hit one initial knee pull here, and now we just fire our left leg up and over. As we pull our left leg up and over, we pull our partner's shoulder in this direction. So our head moves further down, and it's easier for my left leg to come over. And now we come in, and we go for all of our winning positions just as we had before. So previous move, we went wrist and leg. We went knee pull, and we threw our legs up and over. This time, we come in, we go cross forearm. If the elbow starts inside, we do knee pull, and then we're in and we grab. If the elbow's outside and she's really hunkering down, we come in, we raise the hips, we knee pull, and then we pull the elbow to the center line. Now we come in and we reach across. Now as we knee pull, we hit an initial knee pull 1, and we throw our left leg over 2. And once again, if any of this fails, she goes to take her hand across my far shoulder, she posts, I gotta throw my leg up and over. Now what do we have? An elbow across the center line. I gotta throw my leg up and over. She pulls her arm out. Now we just move in. We go into triangles. We come in. We go to throw our legs up and over. She pulls the hand out. We invert, and we go into the legs. Okay? So now everything's starting to come full circle here. So we play with these same speed-based methods where you have a Kazushi to control our partner's posture versus wedges around the head and the shoulders, and we just use different grip variations. We grab a wrist, we scoop inside. Okay, Kazushi, and we throw. Or we use a cross forearm, elbows inside, we just knee pull, and the elbow comes in. Elbows outside, we raise the hips, we knee pull, and now we're in. Now we come in, and now we look to hit an initial knee pull over the left shoulder, and that throwing of the left leg. And now we're in to all of our previous attacks, where we can go in and get through to the win. Alright, so now I'm going to give you guys a look at what could be happening in a live context. A talented opponent always knows their best option is to stand up. Okay, but when you start playing with talented people, a lot of people, even at the highest levels, don't realize that they have to have some form of inside control before they stand up. So what starts happening a lot of times is people will be in your closed guard, they'll post hands on the hips, and they'll start trying to lean forward with hands on the hips and start stepping up from here. Where one leg goes up, and they think they're safe from here. Whenever I see this, This is a very, very common situation where I grab two of my partner's wrists like so. So as she goes to step up, she steps one leg up. Because she has one leg up, I have control of two of her wrists, so I can go to either side. Okay? Most of the time, I'm going to take a scoop on one leg, like so. Now, I'm just going to pull my knees into my chest. This will always force my partner to either, one, drop back down to a knee to reclaim balance, or two, it'll cause her to start pulling either this hand out and posting on the floor, or now I can go into my triangles, or two, if she has a leg up, now it's realistic to think that this hand will move across the body. If she's on two knees, it's not realistic to think that I can off balance her enough to pull this hand all the way across. When she just sits back on her heels, I can't really pull this hand across. But when she has a leg up, now she's leaning so far forward that if she can't pull this hand out, now she has to post this hand across to the opposite side. And now we can start to go into all of the positions that we went into before, where we can move out, and now we can move into positions where we have arms across the center line. Okay? So we create diversions where we can get our partner thinking about one thing, and then we can start to get two hands across the center line, even on talented opponents. Okay? So this time we come in, she goes to step a leg up, we control two of my partners or one of my partner's wrists. As she does this time, we just throw our leg up and over, all the same. We off balance over over my partner's right shoulder, and now we just throw ourselves into Juji Gatame. Now the beauty of this is, if she pulls her arm free, the leg's already stepped up, so the entrance into Ashi is going to be much easier, because now her foot's already away from her butt, and we can easily enter in and go into attacks my partner's leg. Okay, so just a little bit combat realistic situation. My partner has two hands on my hips. Okay, we're in like so. Now maybe she can't get inside bicep control. This is a very common position. So she leans forward with her hands on my chest instead, where she briefly posts the hands on my chest, and she thinks, okay, now if I can stand up, she can get all the way up, and now she can fight to get to vertical posture. It's a very common position. What she wants is inside bicep control. But I deny her inside bicep control, we're fighting here, so she just posts on my chest, and she just pops one leg up, and she goes up. Okay? So whenever I see this, when I have control of two of my partner's wrists, and she goes to step a leg up, we immediately scoop inside that leg. Now, we just knee pull over the left shoulder, and throw our leg up and over, and now we can go into all of our attacks right from there, and all of our leg entrances, like so. Okay? So just a more combat realistic situation, where our partner has one leg stepped up, and we just go into attacks as they're standing up. Okay? Remember, when your partner steps one leg up, they're only a few steps away from getting all the way up and to vertical posture. So you have to make sure that as soon as one leg comes up, we're immediately off balancing and threatening our partner from those positions. Okay. Once again, as silly as a flower sweep may sound, when used correctly, it's a very effective move. This time, we're going to go into a flower sweep when our partner steps a leg up. Remember, I don't have to hit all these moves 100% of the time. What I need is to make sure that my opponent can't step legs up to stand up. Because once she stands up, she's one step away from moving to vertical posture and opening her legs. Okay? So the second my opponent steps a leg up, I need some kind of kazushi to encourage her to move back down to the knees, where then I can again knee pull in this direction, control the posture, and go into all of my attacks. Okay? You can never settle with someone being able to step legs up, one or two legs, and then they're just going to stand up in vertical posture, and next thing you know, you're getting a guard passed. Okay? So we're going to come in, and my partner is going to be in like so with hands on the chest. We're going to control one wrist. Okay, this is a very subtle grip. You don't really feel too in danger here if you're the person on top. And my partner's going to step one leg up. Okay? Whenever I see this, we're going to take our left leg and we're going to block outside of our partner's knee. So the second your partner leans forward, it's a timing thing as well. If she steps up and she leans back, I'm never going to off balance my partner. So you have to time this. As your partner goes to step up, as soon as the leg comes up, that's when we go. Okay? She'll tell you if she steps up and she leans back, you can never off balance her from here. But she'll tell you as she goes to step up, she's incredibly off balanced. Okay? So we use a simple flower sweep, where as our partner goes to step one leg up, we just go to the opposite wrist and the opposite leg. If she goes on the other side, we have two wrist controls, so we can do the same thing on the other side. So the second our partner wants to step up one leg, we just create an angle where we scoop the leg, we block the knee, and now we just take our right foot and we push over my partner's shoulder. Like so. And now we come up into mounted positions. Okay? Again, very simple, very effective. We have control of our partner's wrist. As soon as she goes to step one leg up, we catch, and we gotta take our partner up and over. And you see, even when she bases with her far hand, it's difficult. Because I'm not pushing out in this direction. I'm pushing in that direction. So her hand can only base so far. Okay? And now I'm pushing over her right shoulder. So when she goes to base out, it's just so difficult. Okay? So this time we just use a simple flower sweep when our partner steps the leg up, and then we go into attacks from a mounted position.